What's good, everybody? It's your girl Chanté Presley. Thank you so much for tuning in to our 4th episode of TaeTalkTV. I'm joined here, of course, with my distinguished panel, and I'll start by introducing my best friend of 10 years plus, Jordan Lewis. He is an actor, photographer, dancer, whatever he needs to be in the moment, of course. And then we have a new guest. I'd like to introduce you guys to Nicole. She's a student, she's an editor, and she's also a first decade Gen Zer. All right, y'all. Watch out for her. And then last but not least, we got Marc, who's also returning. He's an actor, activist, and manager. And before we start this show, I just want to tell you guys, please subscribe to my channel, TaeTalkTV. Hit that bell so that you don't miss future episodes. But I want to start by asking you guys, how are you feeling? How are we feeling today?
It's hot as fuck. It's pretty hot today, pretty warm.
It is 90 degrees today, 92 I think.
I'm feeling pretty good. I enjoy the heat.
Yeah, I'm a summer baby, so I enjoy the heat as well. Gemini baby out here.
Leo, August 3rd.
Gemini season unfortunately was cut short, just like Taurus, Aries, and Pisces season due to COVID-19, but you know, whatever.
Not Leos.
Not yet.
Not yet. You know, they did say these cases are rising again, so.
Oh yeah, and things are closing back up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ooh.
everything's closing
COVID
again.
need her own concert at this point.
They really only opened back up because the economy was so bad.
Yeah.
And they saw these numbers rising, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta close that up again."
Just to reopen again and have the same problem.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, in my personal opinion, and I know it's not a popular one, I just feel like it just needs to take its course. If we just continue to go back into shutdown or lockdown and then release the public again,
the same thing will keep happening.
Yeah, it'll
we
just
just
be
messing up our
reoccurring.
economy at that point.
Yeah.
But I heard viruses go away by itself, right? Like each season, it's like the virus comes in, goes away in like 2 seasons or something. So
that sounds about
That's
right.
usually how.
Well, they said it won't go
sustain.
away for 18 months, but like they have to have it still. Like they have to keep it still, like somewhat, like out there, so people can know about it and still be, somewhat
Right.
scared.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, because that's how they control us.
That's how they control it. Exactly.
But anywho, enough about COVID. We've covered that enough.
COVID-19.
Exactly. Let's move on to something a little lighter. Something I quite enjoy. Some hip hop. And I want to talk specifically about the state of female rap. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Saweetie. And so she freestyled and
Me a girl real icy. That mean I don't got times for girls that don't like me. I be minding my own bitch.
I didn't think it was terrible, but when I think of female rap and what it takes to be a female rapper, or at least what I feel like it takes to be a female rapper, I was like, I don't know. And they seem to agree because she was met with less than favorable reviews of her freestyle, and they pretty much said if you were a guy, I would be holding you to a different standard.
I gotta be honest, if you was a dude, I would probably be hard on you.
So, I mean, my point of that is it just seems like these new rappers, it's more of like nursery rhyme raps. Kind of basic. It's a lot of sampling. What do you guys feel like the current state of female hip-hop rap is? Because, I mean, I know my opinion, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
what if they don't get the same resources?
That's true. I did hear Rick Ross said that like a budget, and not just Rick Ross, but just record labels in general, said the budget for a female artist, not even just rapper, is way higher than a man's. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're using the same resources or the best resources. Right. It's, I feel like more of their budget is going into their looks. It's more about the physical, and instead of like, you know, the quality.
Get their titties done, their ass done.
Oh yeah.
So in terms of just like talent wise, like, do you feel like a Saweetie is maybe held to the same standard as maybe a male rapper of someone from her generation? So I don't want to compare her to a Lil Baby, but he's someone who like maybe came out around the same time. Do you think he could drop like lackluster bars and still thrive in this industry?
I don't think so. I think when it comes to female rap, I honestly like female rap, but I do not think Saweetie is the wave at all. I don't think hers is like pretty girl music, I guess,
Right.
and like
That's her label, right? Pretty.
I think she has an album called Pretty Bitch Music or something. So I mean that tells it all. But Yeah, I love female rap, but I'm not a fan of Saweetie at all. I like Megan, like that hardcore. I feel like Megan is like a real rapper. And I'll go as far as to say, I hope I don't get canceled, but I think she raps better than Nicki Minaj. And I only say that because I feel like Nicki Minaj, her bars can get a little like playful and like silly, kind of like a 2 Chainz, but only she can say it because she's Nicki Minaj. I feel like Megan Thee Stallion, she keeps it straight rap. It's nothing but rap. Nicki's an overall better artist, but if I were to say better rapper, I would even say Megan, even though it's too soon to say, but I mean, is it? Definitely ain't Cardi. Cardi ain't better than her because she don't even write her own music, so. But.
That's a good take.
But that's what I think.
And it's interesting because I feel like even Megan and Saweetie are kind of held to a different standard. I feel like Saweetie's more, I feel like she's targeting more of like teeny boppers and like the youth with like just the phrasing. I feel like a Megan Thee Stallion, if she dropped something that was
Wrist on thinner, face on thinner,
it wouldn't be received the same. We would be on her. We have a higher expectation of her. But do you think that people in general don't have a high expectation for female rappers? Do you think it's the same as males? Like in terms of bars, skill, like lyricism?
Well, yeah, of course. when it comes to in terms of bars, then people or the media, everyone's gonna think that male artist is gonna have more to say lyrically than that female artist. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's still art and creativity. It just the way the artist portrays it is how it's going to hit for that listener. Like that listener is only going to resonate with what that artist is saying if if it's relevant to them. If it's not relevant to them, then it pretty much goes in one ear and out the other. So that's why they say, oh, this person's my favorite artist. This is
I would say that's some people, because I mean, I ain't never scammed a nigga in my life, and I love the city girls. I ain't never did half the shit they talk about, but I love them.
But is that your favorite artist though?
Not my favorite, nah. But I mean, I like them, but I wouldn't say that their content is relatable for me.
I understand that, but like that's like me. I could say I like Young Jeezy or 50 Cent, but am I out in the corner banging? Am I shooting the gun? Am I holding the flag? No, but I like that music. My favorite artist personally is J. Cole because I relate to what he says. How he grew up, I relate to how he grew up because that was kind of how I grew up.
Question for you, for the males. Female rappers, I guess, because you, like you said, you want to listen to someone you feel like you can relate to. Do you feel like the content that these female rappers are coming out with, which is usually like scamming, stripping,
right?
That's like a big thing. Like, is that why you don't vibe with it because it's not relatable, or like?
Well, yeah, 100%. Because if I listen to a female artist, like 100%, I'm listening to Erykah Badu, Lauryn Hill, Alicia Keys. Like those are like 3 artists I would put before Nicki, Cardi. And I know there's different type of rap, but I understand their stories even more than their stories, and I even care more about their stories than their stories.
So then, do you think that has anything to do with why female rappers are so hypersexualized now? Like it's like they have to sell sex almost because the males. Like I mean,
appeal
for
of course. People. But I mean, that's not the only reason why. That I mean, they know that's going to help, but like that's not. I mean, they know that's going to help pretty much for the most part. Yeah. Guys can't do that.
Well,
I would say the bar is higher for women, honestly. Okay. Because I feel like on top of having bars, they have to have that look of what you just spoke of. I feel like a guy can look like Chief Keef.
But I still like. There's also female artists that's not attractive.
But are they as successful?
Like Rhapsody. Rhapsody is a great artist that a lot of people are. Tierra Whack.
I would say Da Brat, but she's also. I don't think she's unattractive. I just think because maybe her sexuality, her style, she didn't appeal to men, so therefore she wasn't as successful. But I guess, what do you value more? Do you want a female rapper that has substance, like you said, you listen to certain people because you can relate, or do you want that full package? Do you feel like a female rapper can be just as successful as a Nicki Minaj without selling sex?
Of course.
Like
he's confident. What do you mean? Like no one like nowadays is going to ever do that because how the world is. Like no one has confidence. Like it's so hard for people just to even look in the mirror and believe who they are and just say, F it, I'm about to just do it how I do it. Like, there's so many people like, okay, the world wants me to have the big boobs. The world wants me to have the big butt. So, like, yeah, I could spit it, and it's only going to get me so far. But if I go ahead and get the titties, or if I get the lips, or if I get the ass, then they're definitely going to accept me. That's how niggas, I mean, that's how people are thinking, bro. And like, I mean, not to say, like, you know, that doesn't work, because obviously 100% of the time it does. But those just shows people's insecurities.
Question.
100%.
Question, because that's a good point you're making, because it's 100% true. 100% true. Who are we to blame then for like low quality music? Would it be the consumers? Because I mean, at the end of the day, the music industry is a business, and so they're going to try to appeal to the masses. And if the masses want big boobs, big you know, like big ass, that type of music, that type of content, are they wrong for giving it to us, or are we wrong for wanting that? Like, who's to blame?
No, it's not. It's no point the finger, but that wasn't the original question. You know, the original question is, can they still be successful? I think they can.
Like I said, it's Nicki Minaj.
Who? Oh, it's Nicki Minaj.
Or like even
like, okay, so like I feel like Nicki still would have been as successful even if she didn't do that. Even if she didn't get the fake butt and stuff. And the reason why I do say that is because she had Lil Wayne backing her 100%, and she had the bars to go with her.
They say that like being successful in the music industry or just the entertainment industry is like, guys gotta want to be you, girls gotta want to be with you, and vice versa. Yeah. Like, so it's just like, in terms of that, she's mastered that. Nicki Minaj did that. I feel like she was the last person to do that, though. Like, you know, and I would say Cardi B was, but her writing, you know, credibility.
Debatable.
Yeah, debatable. So it's just like, I would say Nicki Minaj is the last person to do that. I would really love to see a female rapper do that without sex appeal at all.
I got you.
Yeah.
I have one, but she's also tomboyish, and that's Lil Ma. Like,
okay.
She had, or Young Ma, whatever. Young Ma.
Now it's funny because you said it and I knew who you meant. I didn't think of Lil Mama at all.
Oh, but, yeah. Young, I cannot think of her name, but yeah, the one shorty.
Yeah.
She has bars. And her album was not bad at all. And she doesn't have any looks at all whatsoever.
I wouldn't say that. She appeals
to
females.
But she also sounds like a guy. So
but she's like,
she doesn't have a guy's voice. She's not saying things
that
that girls say. She's
That's
literally
true.
saying
so
like,
she can relate more to
I'll fuck your bitch type. She's saying I'll fuck your bitch versus like she's saying shit that niggas say basically.
That you can relate to.
But
she's saying
things that girls could say as well though.
Like what?
I don't know the exact words, but we could put one of her songs on now. She say things that girls, cause she goes both ways.
I mean, yeah, but
so she she says things that guys can relate to, but she says things that girls can relate to.
But the thing about her voice, just in general, it sounds like a man. I don't think anybody would even question if it was a girl if you didn't tell them. Like, I played her songs and I'd be like, you know this a man? They'd be like, what? I mean, you know this a girl? And they'd be like, what? This a girl? And I'd be like, yeah. But so I feel like that's the unfair one.
No, come on.
That's just my personal opinion.
If I'm being fair, you made a good point, because Young and May is somebody I will say I respect her for the bars. It's not about her looks, but she does have an angle. She does have an edge about her, because it's like, and not every female rapper is openly gay.
Both ways.
And like appeals to women, because let's be honest, women do say they find her attractive. So that is still an audience that you're, you know what I mean, a demographic that like. You know
and
what I mean?
Niggas like her because she sound like them.
And she's talking about stuff they can relate to. But I'm not mad at that, because that was a good. That was a good one. I didn't think of her. If I'm being honest, she didn't come to my mind. But because I don't put her in a category with a Cardi B or anything.
I also
and that's.
Now this is
she is a female rapper.
This is another hit or miss for y'all. But this, I don't think, like, of course she has she's somewhat attractive, but she's not like that. Mary J. Blige.
As a rapper?
Whoa, Mary J. Blige is beautiful. Are you kidding me?
No.
Are you saying she's a rapper?
No, as a female artist. I'm saying like she's not like 100% like beauty. Like her lyrics are so much more than like.
I will say that when people mention Mary J. Blige, it's for her merit. It's for her music.
I thought she does rap though. I thought.
She does, but like on a touch it, ring it. Like that ain't
on a touch it, ring it.
That's not. Okay. But needless to say though, Mary J. Blige is still a singer. She's not a rapper, so it's a little different. It's a little different.
For sure.
But let's move on from rapping. Let's talk about acting. You know, we're all actors. We got
editor
and editor. We're all in the entertainment industry, and I mean, I'm pretty sure we've all had our own share of experiences of people. I don't know, inappropriateness. I feel like Hollywood is known. It's called Hollyweird for a reason, right? So Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. Before we get deeper into this topic, what do you guys think about open marriage? Like, what are your thoughts on open marriage? Do you agree? Do you think it's wrong? Is there a problem with open marriage?
I agree with open relationships. I've never really thought of open marriages, but there is like an aspect of me that like supports open relationships because kind of keeping your options open, kind of. But like once you like commit to a marriage, it's kind of like, oh, you guys married, but you're still having options. So yeah, open relationships, I'm fine, totally fine with it. But open marriages, it might take me some time to kind of be like, okay, maybe this might be an okay thing.
That's interesting. Because I feel like a lot of people feel like the relationship is the trial. So it's like if you're unfaithful or you can't be committed during this time, then in a marriage you probably wouldn't be. So that's an interesting take. I feel like, so let's be free while we're in a relationship, and then when it's time to, like, when we decide that, you know, this is a commitment, we're committed to each other, then that's a different take. Because I feel like people feel like, I've been married for 20 years plus, I'm bored, now we need to open the relationship up. And maybe they wouldn't feel that way if they did have an open relationship and then maybe transition.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to open relationship or open marriage, but I wouldn't want to have an open marriage like immediately, kind of how you were saying, like maybe like after 10 years, 20 years, and we like getting kind of bored or whatever. But we still want to be together because at the end of the day, I don't want to go home with these other bitches. You know what I'm saying? I want to come home to you. You know. So I mean, it makes sense. I feel like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. It still makes sense. I feel like in that scenario.
But I feel like open relationships, people probably 10 years ago didn't agree on it. They're like,
it just happened.
It's a new thing, and it's like,
it's definitely like new how open people are with it.
Yeah,
it's
and
just
I feel
more
like
open. It's not a new thing at all. It's just more open.
Yeah,
People
and then now people are talking about open marriages for the past few years. People are opposed to it now, but what if in 5 to 10 years people are like, yeah, it's a normal thing. Like people can just do it anyway.
Like gay marriage.
Well, here's the thing.
Because I mean, I don't know if people really thought that would ever be a thing. Yeah, really. Like honestly, I was always here for it, but I just really like when that became a thing. I was like, wow, things can change. Like things can really change.
This is what I mean. I'm not really for the open marriage.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of things. Well, first off, back in the days, like Game of Thrones time, they did have open marriage. Like those guys were able to have 3-4 wives, and still some in other countries, those men are able to have 3 or 4 wives. And like, I don't know if there's a status that shows that makes the relationship healthier or longer, but you know, I would think that it wouldn't in the long run.
Oh, okay.
Because we're humans. People have feelings and emotions, and after a while, or even after your age, you get tired of doing that. Like you get tired of like the third party girl or guy hanging out with, you know, you married this man or you married this girl because that's who you fell in love with. However, with all that said, I do believe like you guys as a team couldn't have like some experience that you guys wanted to, and that's something that you guys can talk to. Like if you guys wanted to possibly have like, oh, let's try a threesome, like he said, maybe years down the road. But I'm not saying like this is something that we're gonna do. We're gonna have an open marriage. We're gonna do it, you know, maybe once a year or an anniversary, or we might have some fun and switch it up a little bit. But I don't really see like having that open marriage, because I feel like going down the road that could potentially hurt the relationship. Meaning like he or her could actually end up liking that partner if it's one partner, or even if it's multiple partner.
But y'all can talk about it and then be like, yo, okay.
Well, and that might, all right, well now we need a divorce. And like,
but that's Will's thing though. He doesn't believe in divorce. That's why they're still together. So
well,
they
here's the thing. Now we wasted
and they
15
always come
years.
back.
We wasted 15 years.
But that's the love. That's you always come back because you love that person. So it's like we just experimenting for now.
Do you love what I mean, come on, like at the end of the day, like at least for me, like that L and that loss is going to beat the L in love, because I keep losing you.
Okay.
Or that's how you feel about it.
That's me though.
Yeah. I agree.
So
If I'm
do you
being
feel like
honest,
that
I agree with
before?
you, Mark. I don't know that, like, I have mixed feelings, if I'm being honest. Because I do, like, if I feel like, I feel like if you're with a person 10, 20 years for sure, you're gonna get bored. You're gonna like.
We've done everything. We've done the slave thing. We've done. You've done everything there is to do. You know the whatever. You know we're not. You know.
Right, but like
you came up with the games, whatever. If you guys want to take it to that next, get a third.
Right.
That's something different.
I like that idea. Like we make it a thing that is like
together, and we don't go outside our pack to go contact this person. Like you're going behind my back. You're taking pictures with this person, or we have an open relationship.
Should always be communication.
You have an open
relationship. That doesn't mean there's no communication.
But
you're not just doing stuff.
But like, okay, the situation that Jada's in, she's taking pictures with this dude. That like,
but we already know about it.
I guess I should elaborate a little more, just for our viewers.
In the open relationship.
Just for our viewers who are not aware of what's going on between Jada, Will, and August Alsina. It came out recently in an interview with August Alsina, and was it Angela Yee? I know he did a few interviews. Yeah. Angela Yee, where he just expressed what people had already kind of speculated, like, you know, like that he and Jada had a relationship that was intimate and with Will's approval. So, you know.
And he loves her.
And he apparently he's deeply in love with her. And see, that's where my concern.
That's what I'm saying.
Like where it's like, okay, we agreed upon maybe having this open relationship, but now there's someone who has feelings.
Exactly.
And it's like that becomes a little different. It becomes a little tricky. But apparently, according to August, allegedly, Will agreed to this. This was a part of their agreement, and honestly, there have been rumors of Will dating other people outside of the marriage as well, or you know, people who are young too. I do have a question about that. Do you think there's a double standard? Because I feel like people are kind of like looking at August Alsina like, oh, you know, it's cool that you were able to bang Jada Pinkett Smith, but if it was a Will Smith
with a younger
woman, like a woman that's August Alsina, that age difference, would people be looking at him like a creep?
No, absolutely
you don't
not.
think so?
I mean, because it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
It happens all the time, and it's nobody's. Like, I know a guy who was 42 dating a girl who was a bartender at Hooters who was 19, but the dude was 42 years old. But that's what she was into, and that's what he was into.
Yeah.
But you know, like,
and they ain't nobody. They're not celebrities. The only reason why it matters because they're celebrities now. You gonna put a status on it.
Yeah.
So like now you have the public to judge you, which the public's gonna be harsh critics. But at the end of the day, I mean, if she's legal, she's legal. It's nothing's wrong.
How old is August Alsina? He's what?
27.
So we're the same age. So that's literally like, I feel like if Will was dating someone my age.
Will was 47. Well, Will's 45, 47.
I feel like you don't think that, you would assume something about that relationship. You would assume there's probably money involved.
Yeah.
You would be like a sugar daddy. You wouldn't think that, like with August, he's like professing his love to Jada. And like people are just kind of like, oh, you know, Will, simp, you know, like they're not really thinking about that age difference where I feel like that would be more of the focus if it was Will instead of Jada. People would be like,
I think they would just be more the fact that he's cheating, more or less.
That's
honestly,
true.
I think they'll be like, "Well, he's cheating," and then it would be like, "And this bitch young."
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it would would definitely reflect more poorly on him. Whereas people are making jokes. Don't get me wrong. People are definitely making jokes and saying it's wrong, but I feel like it's not being taken as seriously as it would.
I don't think it's wrong. I mean, I feel like if they agreed upon it, Will and Jada, and they're cool with it with each other, and they have an agreement, I feel like, hey,
that's real. That's real.
Just people have a lot of opinions. That's why social media's.
I think it's cool that they plan not to ever get divorced. Because I mean I think it can be, at least in my opinion, I think it's kind of selfish to think that somebody will be committed to you for 50 years plus and only you.
Why?
What are we getting married for?
Yeah,
like,
what are you getting married for?
Hey, when y'all get married and y'all commit to somebody for 50 years plus, let me know.
Well, don't you hold yourself at a standard that you're good enough for that person to be committed to you?
Yeah, absolutely. But my standard isn't based off of that person though.
I
think regardless of what they do, even if they were to cheat on me, it doesn't have anything to do with me.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
I mean, sure.
Listen,
maybe I'm
gonna tell you this right now.
Okay.
As like, and this, I mean, and it doesn't have to be right. This is what I think. a lot of the times, especially for a woman, because once a woman commits their love for you, bro, like it takes a lot for them to like want to fuck you over. First off, so in order for you to have done that, like, and it's not like, oh, we have an open relationship, and if y'all are committed, like, first off, she has to have proof that you're cheating. Then she doesn't give a fuck if she cheats. You're either not doing, you're not around, you're not like being the man in her life that you're supposed to be, like you're still out and about.
I think the
not
way we
necessarily
look at
cheating.
it is completely different. But just from what you're saying, I think the way y'all look at open relationships and the way I look at open marriages is just completely different.
Let's define.
Like y'all
let's
sound very deceitful. Versus I feel like mine is more like we're having a conversation about how we feel. And hey, we're a little bored right now. We 20 years into it. Hey, what you want to do? You want to do that? Okay, we're talking then.
You're talking how me and Chanté are talking. Then you're not saying that you're basically gonna be open. You're saying we're kind of bored. Let's go experience with a threesome and
let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun.
It's a mutual agreement.
Yeah,
that's no deceit.
But
I'm not going behind your back.
But I guess
You're
the
not
point
going
I'm
behind
making
mine.
is eventually it would become deceitful if interest.
But
if
that's a
love,
whole nother part. That's a whole nother aspect.
But then you're not saying that
that's not my take on it.
But you're not. You're not openly open for open marriage then. You're not really for open marriage then. You're for possibly having a kinky thing, but you're not really for like.
It's still open. It's just communication.
No, an open marriage is literally like me and Chanté. This is my girlfriend,
married.
and this is my girlfriend, and what I do with her, I do with her. That's what an open marriage is. Like I could take her on a date, and then I take her home, and I picked her up, and I'm taking her to the same spot.
My wife asks me who was I with, and I say I was with.
And I'm with her,
Nicole,
and Chanté's like,
that's
oh,
okay.
that's cool.
That's communication. But there's no deceit there. I'm not going behind your back.
You guys don't think it's possible to be 100% faithful then for like the rest of your life?
I wouldn't say that.
I'm not saying
no,
that.
I think I could.
You think that? So you think that a marriage could last without open relationship, or even maybe? Okay,
of course, definitely.
But I'm not. But going back to my statement of being with somebody forever. I mean, but I'm also not. I mean. Who knows? When it happens, then maybe I'll change my mind. But I feel like if someone that I love or that loves me or whatever the case may be were to cheat on me after a while, I wouldn't opt out immediately. I wouldn't be like, I don't want to fuck with you no more. I would be like, well, why? What did I do?
Yeah,
what was I love? What happened? Just
sure.
Help me out here. And if you want to be with me still, then we gonna work through it or whatever the case may be. But I don't know.
So like.
Is Will and Jada
he's not in an open marriage?
I'm for whatever.
For the fun.
Yeah, like are they? Do you think they're in the marriage, or do you think they're in an open marriage for the fun of it, or do you think
they're finding more love?
I think it's a partnership. They got kids together.
They do.
But like for August, it's love. It's a completely different.
So then, like at that point, is it wrong when someone's like, "I love you," and you're married, and I don't know what to do with these feelings because now
you knew I was married when you got here.
So then,
that's problematic, actually.
See, and now other people's feelings are getting involved.
But you knew I was married.
Because we're human beings.
I knew I was married. He knew I was married.
So that's why you're against open marriage.
Because I feel like naturally
that
you're going to be
okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Yeah. Last question regarding Jada. Do you guys think that this is a publicity stunt? Because I
definitely think there's some.
it could be, but it could also be a publicity stunt with like Will and Jada's like their whole marriage, whole thing, all of it, like literally, it could be the Holly weird. Literally, just
we don't know.
We don't know. I'm just talking speculation once again. Just. Like once you get to a certain level, you have to not sell your soul, but you have to do something, and that could have been their thing. Like y'all have to act like y'all fake married, and it's gonna be open married, but y'all want who knows?
So
but nonetheless, it's a lot of
storylines.
It's a lot of things around just that, Just like you said, since we've been kids, we've heard about them having an open marriage. And we've always wondered, why have an open marriage? It's Will Smith. You could get any girl you want.
And see,
and still have her be faithful to you.
Yeah.
Why? And same with Jada. I'm Jada Pickett. I've been doing this since I was 17 years old. I could get any man I want.
Even Tupac.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I do agree that Holly Weird does cause people to do weird things to stay relevant, whether it is to promote their show, whatever the case is. But I will say that this situation is definitely based on a real circumstances.
Yeah.
They've been married for a long time. I don't doubt that they have an open marriage. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it if they do, because at the end of the day, they've raised their kids, they're successful, and they have an agreement to stay married no matter what. And they've been doing it thus far.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it works for them. But
a lot of times people are so quick to get divorces.
Divorce rates are high.
Get them if you need them, but I feel like if y'all like Will and Jada, just stay together.
Yeah.
Y'all already had y'all kids.
As long as you have your
already
communication.
Exactly.
As long as you have your communication.
That's what really matters. That's the most important part. But
it's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. Very hard, but it's really important.
It is. If you're gonna have an open marriage, you should definitely have open communication.
Mm-hmm.
Open communication. But we're moving on to something no one really wants to talk about, but unfortunately we do have to revisit Ahmaud Arbery, and that's what we were originally talking about. But soon after that, we had the murder of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, countless others, Rayshard Brooks, like just countless other people who have been murdered, and as a result of police brutality. And I mean, since then, I would say my views have even changed from the last episode of TaeTalkTV. Like, I feel like we need to be more active than ever. I mean, I know that we've all like been to protests, we've all participated in donating or some type of signing petitions, definitely working towards change. And if I'm being honest, I do feel like this time was a little different. They had to admit for the first time that, like, no, there is a problem here.
Mm-hmm.
Even the people who fired Colin Kaepernick, or said that him protesting and kneeling was wrong, they had to double down on that. They had to backtrack and say he was right, and we kicked him out of the NFL. You know what I mean? So what are your thoughts? Do you feel like this time was different?
I mean, it's always been an eye-opener, but this time it just been countless murders in a shorter time span. And also, just like bringing up Will again, just like he said in previous, it's also being recorded.
Yeah.
It's either one or two things. You either see that it's wrong or that you have something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And that's what it is nowadays. And I think people are realizing, like, wow, like, if I'm not necessarily with them, but if I can't see that this is wrong, or if this is happening to my kid or whatever, then there's a problem with me on the inside. And people are really starting to see that now. And not everybody still, and everybody won't see it, but what we're doing now is making a big ruckus. It's making some noise, and it's time. It's time to make noise. Even Kyrie Irving, he's basketball player, NBA, everyone knows him, champion. He said like he doesn't even want to come back to Orlando to play the rest of the season. He's even talking like, well, I mean, there's enough pretty much black people, he was saying, in the league where they can start their own league.
I think COVID helped too. The fact that we had nothing to do, and
that's
we were
true.
all at home and no job.
I mean, of course COVID helped,
But
all we're doing is consuming the media and what's happening. So, and we have time because we have no jobs at the moment.
But I feel like social media is such a big part in almost everybody's lives now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I just think that you can get the footage of, these murders and assaults, and then
Karens.
and then people are sharing information to people, so people are getting, I guess, more educated. They're knowing more. As if it was 10 years ago, there's probably maybe like 50% that had I don't know, like a phone. Like people, even the kids now, like as young as like second grade, they be having iPhones, so they can be having access to this type of information. So then people are just getting more educated.
Right.
Yeah. I will admit, this younger generation, they're really making the difference. And probably because they have all these resources, they see the real, and also they admire black culture. Like, they see, wow, these people are really being oppressed. They're really being treated differently than I am. I see that because these people are now my friends, whereas like previous generations, they're in denial. They were in their bubbles. They didn't see it. It was out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind, behind closed doors.
Behind closed doors. They don't. I don't experience it. I don't see black people being mistreated, so it's not happening. Right. Whereas now you can't say
or
that.
I just have one black friend and he's privileged, so it's not like he gets that treatment.
Right. I don't see him being mistreated. I don't, but it's
like you gotta see it. You gotta see it to know.
You don't have a choice. You're scrolling and you see it. You see an officer with his knee on someone's neck, and this person saying, "I can't breathe," and you watch this person lose their life.
Right.
That's not something we saw before.
But I do know people that see these like footages and images and stuff, and they're like, "Well, I didn't know they had it that bad." And it's just like, have you not been on the media, or like have you not been educated? Like, you've been to school.
I think some people don't want to see it.
Yeah, that's what they don't want to see it. They don't want to believe it.
And I will say, even for myself, like, I don't want to see it. So even with the story about the girl who got lit on fire, I didn't even know she got lit on fire until like recently, although I've been seeing her picture for the past 3 weeks. But it's because for me as a black person at least, I don't want to keep seeing being desensitized to stuff like that.
Right.
And I think it's the same for like white people. They're like, oh, here go black people complaining again. So they kind of just scroll past it. They don't want to read the full story. They don't care to read the full story because it's just us complaining, you know.
So it doesn't like, if it doesn't affect them, they won't care.
Exactly.
See, there's a lot of these things like, if you have a different race, you know how all the rioting and looting was happening, they didn't really care into it until, I guess, the protesters were taking, like breaking into stores that the people that don't care like were shopping into. So they're like, my favorite store is getting looted.
Now I care.
Now I care.
Yeah. And also, even with that, media plays so much into this. I really was disturbed by how like the media chose to focus, some media news outlets, not all, but chose to focus on the looting and the rioting instead of the actual cause, the protest, the peaceful protest.
Which was the majority
of them. And if we're being honest, a lot of propaganda, a lot of staging of props and things for people to actually start these riots and looting.
Yeah, a lot of things were staged. Like the police cars were definitely on fire. The police cars were on fire out of nowhere. Like, we went to a protest and like, all I remember is walking down the street, everything was cool, and then all of a sudden there was a police car on fire. But no one was engaged with it or like standing on top of it like you would think. Everybody was just like walking by looking at it like, who did this?
Right.
Like,
they're trying to make the protesters look bad.
Exactly.
And Trump used a lot of the footage for his campaigns, a lot of the rioting and the looting and the fires and stuff. He had a campaign, I think, that was on YouTube or somewhere I seen recently, and it was pretty much just this is what the Democrats want, or something like, I don't know, something stupid.
Even that, it was really frustrating for me. It's very frustrating for me. Because instead of the issues, police brutality, we're now focusing on something completely irrelevant. And also, when we were protesting, there was a person who was traveling with us, and he wasn't black. And then he was about to set something on fire, and Jordy here stopped him. Like, Jordy was like, dude, don't do that. What are you doing? And later on, the guy walks up to Jordan and he's like, hey man, thank you, because I don't know what I was thinking. And see, if he would have set that on fire, it would have reflected on Black Lives Matter or black people and protesters or the cause, instead of the fact that didn't have anything to do with us. Like, this is someone who I don't know what their intentions were, if I'm being honest. I don't know what that guy, I don't know if he was a part of the agenda or if he was really for Black Lives Matter, because a lot of people were tagging stuff.
Or just there to be there.
Or just to be there for a photo op. A lot of all of the people I seen spray painting stuff, they weren't black. And it also kind of bothered me that a lot of people that were leading these protests, or at least seemingly, weren't black. It didn't feel like it was being led by black people.
I've been to like a straight protest for 2 weeks straight, and it's honestly kind of weird when I go and it's like it's a white person leading it, and I'm like, okay, so.
But at the same time, we do need white allies.
We do, but they don't need to be the face. Like, we need to be the face.
I mean, it would probably make it a little worse.
If we were the face, you think?
I think so. I don't think they would listen.
I mean, not necessarily listen, but cops are really like, oh, it's not a white person, so I'm gonna.
They're just complaining again. I think this is what they think when it's a black face on it.
I don't know. Like, no, it's good at the white face. Like,
I think that's what makes this time different, is that there are so many
other
faces.
Yeah.
To put the saying Black Lives Matter. It's not, usually I feel like it's really just us, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter.
Right.
And people either ignoring us and just kind of scrolling, or you know,
Hit the
not
like.
mentioning, hit the like, you know. But now it's like, I feel like the media and the social media is forcing people to do it because, I mean, sad as it is to say, it's a trend, but a good trend. And I think the trend is forcing people to feel guilty into posting something. So it gives more faces to the cause, if that makes sense.
It does, and there's definitely power in numbers. So I mean, I'm definitely, like I said, when the first time we went, I felt really good because I was like, there were people beeping at us, raising their fists. I was like, shoot, I didn't know Black lives actually mattered to y'all. Like, it was surprising to me. I was very surprised.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But I guess what I mean is, I feel like a Black person should be running it, but definitely white allies should be there. There should be a large number of white people. It just feels a little contrived. It just feels a little weird when there's a white person, because you don't know the struggle. What I mean,
but here's what I'm saying. Like, if you have, like, you seen how they had the cops on the front line, then you have that white face literally on the front line yelling. That's a black face. He might not make it out of that front line. That's what I'm saying. Like, having that white face right there is almost like a security blanket. It's almost like a safety net. It's like we're in their little bubble right now. Like, we're still doing our thing. We got some other faces in there to, you know, do our thing with us, and we're still outnumbering them by far. But since we have this white face, it's like the cop is almost kind of like, you're lucky this person's right here.
You know,
it's lucky Tommy.
I feel less threatened.
Exactly.
I've been to 2 protests where the white allies, they wouldn't speak, but they would be like the shield in front of the black speakers between the police officers. And that, I'm like, okay, that's fine, but I still feel like the black person should be like the main voice of the whole protest.
Because I feel like that's like, do I want to hear white? Because even when the white person was chanting, it's just like, it didn't feel. You don't feel
years of oppression.
Exactly. It's like,
but the black people are chanting too, right?
Say her name. It's like, no, say her name, Breonna Taylor. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You're right. Because unfortunately, that is the case. Unfortunately, the reality of it is that we do need a white shield.
Yep.
Even if it's a black cause. Even if we're the ones suffering, we still need and like,
we need them to say that we're suffering for them to actually believe it.
And what's so sad is I have white friends who, like, they are sickened by that. The fact that, like, you know, I have to, like, it only matters or means something if I say it. Like, they don't. It's not that they don't want the responsibility. I mean, but they don't.
Oh, it's still like, no big deal kind of deal. But, oh, man, I mean, Chanté or Marcus or Drew, like, man, like, that's really my close friend, and, you know, they're black. But, like, if they don't have that many black friends in their life, to them, if it's not really touching down for them, it's...
So it doesn't affect them.
It doesn't affect
still at the end. So
they just think about their only 2 black people they know.
I have to disagree. While I feel like that is a great majority, I do have white friends, and I mean, I only know what they tell me at the end of the day, but I truly believe them when they say, like, they have cut people off who are defending the cops, who are, like, justifying the murder of these unarmed black people. They literally have said, it's crazy. I mean, these are people who, like, I am cool with, but this one matter is the difference between me being your friend or associate or whatever the case. I can't be involved with you if this is how you feel. And I feel like, as a white person, I don't know what it's like to be white, but I would imagine it is hard to go against people who look like you, like, you know, just naturally, because it would be, you know what I mean, when this is all you know, you grew up around these people, like, as far as you know, they're good people, but damn, when it comes to this one issue, because you just so happen to view black people as human, you know what I mean, although that should just be what it is, it's not. And you're realizing for the first time, shit, like, they're right, shit is fucked up. These people I care about are the people that black people are talking about when they say, I'm being mistreated, I'm being judged, I'm being, you know, followed, I'm being pursued. It's your friends, it's your family. We see all these TikTokers who are, like, literally in arguments with their parents, and their parents are saying, you know, like, they're disowning their parents because their parents are like, you're defending these people, like, you know what I mean, they're turning against their parents. That's why I really commend this young generation. But it's interesting, it's crazy to see white people cussing out other white people and just, like, telling them you're wrong.
It's that trend too, though. I'm telling you.
I think because
people want to seem like they're more of a white ally or more of an ally or more of, just in general of anything, not just when it comes to this movement, but just when it comes to media and social media in general, I feel like people want to one up the next person. So, oh, you're arguing with your parent. My parents were racist to you, so I'm going to make sure I say this because I know my parent is definitely going to say this.
I know my parent is more racist.
And it's so sad that like clout is that valuable in this young generation that like people will do that and be cool with their parents right after. Like, let's just pretend.
I actually just wanted you to say that right now.
Right.
Hey, Mom, that was perfect.
Man, we're going to go viral. But
Dad, I didn't expect that.
But I just never want to discredit the.
You said the hard R. I didn't know you were going to go that far.
I didn't expect
That's gangster. But okay, guys. I just never want to discredit the true allies, the true people, the people who are really standing up for what's right. Because they exist, they do, and I feel like sometimes they do get overshadowed by the people who unfortunately they're not as many of them as we think. Right. They're the loudest. Yeah. And that's really what it is. Like that gun girl from Ohio, the one who likes to go and I don't know if you guys are familiar with. I'm not even gonna say her name. I'm not giving that.
Say her name.
No. I'm not giving that life. But
Right.
She get like people they feed into it because she's loud.
Yeah.
But she doesn't speak for the majority. So I just never want. Ice Cube even said, he's like, let's not be aggressive towards white people. It's not everybody. Just like every black person ain't a thug, every white person ain't racist. So I just always want to say that. But
Lil Baby song, Big Picture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I heard that Lil Baby song. It's called Big Pictures.
Yeah.
The bigger picture.
Really
the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I do want to really speak to something that's been bothering me a lot, just as a black woman.
Yes, ma'am.
The way this Breonna Taylor case has been handled has really been disturbing me. Just as a black woman, it really bothers me when I see these, black women just being disregarded. It feels completely.
The priority level is not as strong as George Floyd. Like, it's taking a much longer time for Breonna Taylor to get her justice than George Floyd's case.
Yeah.
Hers wasn't recorded though. Also.
Hers wasn't recorded, but also it's clear what happened.
Yeah, for sure.
And they sure took and just the police report and everything about that case is literally sketch. It showed everything about it. She did nothing wrong. There's proof of that.
Right.
There's proof of that. There was a witness there, her boyfriend, and it's like, my girlfriend's dead. What can y'all say other than I didn't kill her? And it seemed like they were even trying to paint that narrative that the boyfriend. You know what I mean? It's insane. But just in regards to how the case is handled, and black women in general, because she's not the only one. We got Sandra Bland, who I feel like even that was not swept under the rug, but there wasn't outrage like there should have been for a woman who we know didn't deserve what happened to her. She was unarmed. She was not a threat to the police. Or the cops can't say, like how they say, for black men, I felt threatened. More or less. Mm-hmm. More or less. You can't say that I felt like my life was threatened. No. So I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? How the cases are being handled? Breonna Taylor or just black women in general?
I think women in general has definitely not given their equal rights the same time as men does. If you go back into the 1900s, men got their rights, even black men, they got their rights before women, all women. So it kind of still plays in today's society. I guess, so the men got justice first, and I guess just the woman just kind of like prioritized less.
The only reason I would disagree with that is because I feel like white women are always prioritized. So I feel like that's the difference. Okay. Like, I would definitely know that women, we got our rights, even the right to vote after, I get that, but it's just like, white women, I feel like they have a power. Let's not act like the term Karen is not a term for a reason.
But it's still men first and then women.
Yeah, but the white woman is protected by the white man.
Okay.
But I think her point is more so just in general, it's men first then women. So
not
I don't think
it's definitely
just
definitely.
In general.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why people are outraged about George.
But I feel like if it was I guess my point is if it was a white woman, that wouldn't be the case. Like literally, Scott Peterson's case. If we're just talking about a man who killed his wife, that was national news. Mm-hmm. That was national news. This was literally in California. Why am I hearing about this at 9 years old? In Ohio. This is nationwide news. They're following this case every day. This woman who was killed by her husband, or like allegedly killed by her husband, and they followed that case. I don't feel like a Breonna Taylor's case is it's not on the news every day. That was news. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8 in the morning, that was on the news.
I don't know. I do think it's unfair.
I feel like when it comes to it's just a little bit. Malcolm X even said it. The black woman is the most unprotected.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, the white man will protect that white woman. Mm-hmm. Emmett Till. Mm-hmm. O.J. Simpson. Although he was acquitted, white people were not happy about that. There was outrage. And I don't feel like that energy is matched when it comes to black women, especially when it pertains to police brutality.
I agree.
And I
don't know.
I think more black men are stepping up though, because they're finally realizing, oh yeah, this Breonna Taylor, so black woman being the very least of society's priority. They're stepping up. There's been videos online that they're stepping up for these women, and I think that's really important actually. It is a really big
You definitely do. And when I say unprotected, I don't mean me specifically. I can't say that I've just experienced not being protected by black men. The black men in my life are wonderful. I do feel like there has been a divide between black men and black women, and it's in the media, it's kind of in social media, what we're exposed to. They're painting a narrative, and I don't know that it's actually true, but it's the narrative that's being painted, so much so that white women in particular, feel comfortable asking me certain questions that I feel like it's because it's a norm, or at least it's perceived as a norm, that black women are just unprotected, that we are our own, not subgroup, but I don't know. And I don't subscribe to that thinking. You know what I mean? But I do think it's a real thing.
I said it's a hard one for me because I honestly can't think of anything to say because I'm not a black woman, so I can't say no, this isn't happening, or no, it is, or oh, I had this reference, because I don't. Honestly, I'm just
Then what is your viewpoint on black women?
As far as what? Being protected?
Yeah, I guess the black women in your life, have you seen them being protected? How a white woman, because even in the case of, and this is completely sidebar, but when it comes to accusations of sexual assault, I feel like it's taken a lot more seriously if it's a white woman opposed to a black woman. And
I agree with that, but I can't think of anybody I know too personally who I can say they've come forth and they weren't or I don't know. I can't think of a situation honestly where that has happened for me.
Or you're a black man, do you see a black woman, are you prioritized more than the woman if it comes to a situation?
I think it depends. I think it depends. Yeah, I think because I can say it sounds like an all lives matter type of thing, but I can say that I feel like the black man is the most unprotected but it's a difference. We're looked at as a threat, so we're unprotected. You guys are looked at as not a threat, so you guys are unprotected. But I think at the same time, nonetheless, I don't think the black woman is more unprotected than the black man.
I would have to say I feel like you're more acknowledged though, because even being a threat, you're being seen as something.
Yeah.
And I feel like black women are completely different.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
At least they see us as a threat, but
it's I feel like.
But I don't feel protected because I'm a threat.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
But it's just we're just a complete afterthought. It's
I think they would let y'all go before they would let a black man go though. If we get pulled over, I think they would 9 times out of 10 probably try not to give you a ticket.
I can agree with that.
Just because you're a woman.
I can agree.
And I think with us, it's going to be the opposite, and they're going to try to find every reason to give us a ticket.
I can agree with that.
So I think it's perspective.
It depends on the situation. It's subjective. I guess you can't really speak to that, but it's just an observation. I don't know. What do you think, Nicole? As an outsider, what do you feel like you see? In terms of maybe how social media presents it. So do you feel like there's a difference? You can be honest. You don't have to say speak to your truth.
I do. So going back to my point, I still think that men are prioritized more than women. And there has been less news talking about Breonna Taylor, and people have been posting, oh no, it's not trending on social media anymore, keep her name out. And I guess just after George Floyd got the justice, everything just kind of mellowed down, and the whole Breonna Taylor thing just kind of just like, oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, and yeah, so
You agree?
yeah.
Well, I guess my point is, like, I feel like black people in general and allies just need to stick together. Like, no matter what the media is trying to portray. Because I just feel like, as a black woman, that's what I see. That's my experience. So I guess I can only speak to that, what I see on social media. And just this divide, I feel like, is trying to be created. But we can't fall into that. We have to stick together. We have to be strong. We have to be there for each other. We have to be there.
Like I said, I walk her home every
Yeah,
time.
and he definitely does. That's why I'm like, I can't say that I've been neglected by the black man. But I can't say that I haven't seen that reality. Like, I can't say that I don't know people who completely are neglected by just everybody. Whether it be because they're black, unattractive, not seen. I mean, it can really go a number of ways, but I can't say that I haven't seen that either.
Right.
So, yeah. Another thing that I noticed, I've seen a lot of brands kind of like exploiting, or I won't say exploiting, because who am I to say what a brand's intentions are?
Right.
But it just seems like they're hopping on the bandwagon, and I won't call anybody out, but just, I don't know. I can't say that I've seen this support before. It just seems like it's kind of cool to say I support Black Lives Matter or ease guilt.
I think these brands are saying that Black Lives Matter, posting on it on social media, kind of, I guess, gets their fans, not their fans, but like their customers with them.
Yeah.
They're
So
with the
if
trend.
so yeah, if they don't post it, they might lose customers. So we don't really know if they're doing it because they really believe that Black Lives Matter, or they're just doing it to keep their customer base.
Right.
You just never know, but that's a possibility with a lot of these brands. Because I used to work for, I still work for a company, which I have actually considered quitting. They've been pretty racist my time there, and they've had lawsuits. So I don't think I should like mention it, but I think you guys will probably know when I talk about it. But the previous years, they've been getting lawsuits, like they don't hire enough like colored people. It was always white people for the employees, even in like this above like manager, corporate, it was always just white. And so they got these lawsuits, and they changed their policy, but then they did get a lot of backlash from, because people knew about this lawsuit, and so they lost a huge like customer base. They're definitely more. They've been hiring more colored people, but then just like people that work there, you'll still see racism and that discrimination in there.
Yeah.
Just because we change the policy doesn't mean it's gonna go away. It's like, okay, we're gonna change the policy for A, B, and C purposes, but I mean, that person's already that person.
Yeah, and then so the brand has actually posted on social media Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, and then people in the comments are like, well, are you doing it because they matter, or are you just doing it so you won't lose customers for the second time in a decade or something? Like,
That's real.
Are you donating proceeds? Are you donating to Black Lives Matter, the movements and everything?
Friends? Are there black CEOs in corporate?
Real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Real stuff.
Nonetheless, they're still speaking up and showing like, Black Lives Matter. So even anybody that sees it is gonna be like, okay, well, this brand is saying it, so let me not be so stubborn, or whatever the case may be.
The trend,
the trend.
And they have to change anyway. Like it's not like they don't. It's not like, okay, that happened, and then 3 years later they say, oh, let's change now. That whole big deal, that whole big BLM Black Lives Matter happened 3 years ago, but now let's start changing.
Would you say there is a black privilege? Do you think like black privilege exists? And I guess, if I'm elaborating on that, it goes further than just like black people being able to do something maybe white people can't do, but like being able to say or express things that white people maybe can't express.
Black privilege, the only time I've seen black privilege, besides like you just said, like saying certain things, of course, but black privilege, literally, we are black privilege when it comes to our athletic abilities. Because I just feel like there's no one as athletic as us all around, and I mean, and that's also thanks to the white man, because they enslaved us. So it's just instilled in us in generations for us to be how we are. When it comes to that athleticism.
My argument when you say like athleticism is like a black privilege, I don't know if that's so much of a privilege as it is just. Would you even say like is it coincidental? Like, well, you said that.
I wouldn't equate that.
I don't know.
Se. That's more of like a, for lack of a better term, that's more of like a supremacist mindset. I would say, because basically you're saying like I think that black people are more athletic. At least that's how it comes off.
We are.
I think that we have. Go ahead.
The only reason I would argue against that point is because I can remember my freshman year of college being in psychology, and my professor literally saying, according to the way the brain is structured, Asian people are the smartest, white people would then follow, and black people would literally be the least intelligent, like the least competent, because of the way the brain is structured. And so I feel like by saying that like black people are superior in athleticism or like physically superior, it would almost be like validating the point that like it is possible for certain races to have certain.
But that's two different things. And I'm saying this because he said it's the brain. That's a mental. We're talking about athleticism and the body. That's more physical. And once again, I'm going to say it's more of a coincidence, or it just happened like this because once again, I'm taking it back to slave times. You guys had us working, doing everything that they didn't want us doing, and now over the years, our bodies has evolution over time. Our bodies are now stronger, quicker, faster. We can jump higher. All those things are just because all of our ancestors been doing all that hands-on work, and they weren't. So now over time, that's why we run the NBA. That's why we're starting to come and take the NFL. Now we haven't hit hockey yet, and that's just because brothers don't skate. But if you start skating and skating on ice, black people ain't around like ice. They don't ice skate first off. Yeah. So it's not even like it's a thing. Mm. Black people, we have access to a football field and we have access to courts.
I would argue, and this is just going a little deeper into it, that it has more to do with the region that we come from, opposed to like slavery. So I would say Africa. Because we're from Africa, we are designed, or we have adapted, our bodies have evolved to be able to withstand those conditions of Africa. I just feel like
that's true.
And I feel like the same with white people, where they come from, it's colder, it's like you don't want so much air shooting up. I just feel like we naturally adapted. There's a theory, it's where all of the continents or whatever separated and they were in different climates. I think that has more to do with why you see
that too. That has a part of it, but that's why the white person even came to Africa anyway. Like if you watch Roots, the white person already knew the black person was more agile, more athletic. That's why they took the black person from Africa and brought him here, because they knew that they could do the work.
Well, I thought it was because they could withstand the diseases.
It was a number. It was a number.
We kind of tangent. Sorry.
When it comes to black privilege, I would say when I think of black privilege, I think of the things that like we can say shit like I hate white people, and nobody would really think too much of it. Versus like if a white person says I hate black people or I hate Asians or I hate anybody, the whole world is gonna be like you're racist. Like immediately, there's no gonna be no ifs, ands, or buts. But we could say stuff like that and nobody really bats an eye.
I mean that's hands down though.
But
is that really privilege, or is that a lack of like respect? Because it's just like, well, at the end of the day, you're not in power, so your opinion doesn't matter. So you can say that. Because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You don't have any real.
But at the end of the day,
because they can't do that. As the people in power,
but the reason why they don't want to, our only reason why we can say that is because they enslaved us. So it's like, oh yeah, you could say that, or you could think that because you were enslaved by them, or your ancestors were enslaved by them.
So do Jewish people have that same privilege? Because there was a genocide amongst them.
If they want to say that they don't like Nazis, which I know not one Jew likes any Nazis.
White people.
But all white people are not Nazis.
If they say German, that's still
racist. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
it would be looked at weird if they were like, if they were lashing out at German.
If they were to say I don't like German people and they were Jewish, for me, I can 100% see why. But
we can because we face a similar.
But that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like for us to say I don't like white people.
But they don't have that privilege. I feel like Jewish people can't say that.
They
can't say that
they can say that.
hate
They
Germans.
can't say it without being ostracized. We can say it without any repercussions. Nobody's really gonna question what we're saying. But anybody else, I feel like anybody white passing or white looking, or even if an Asian were like, I hate white people, I think people would still be like,
yeah,
whoa.
of course.
Do you
I mean,
feel
like Asian
like-
person say I hate white people, they're like, oh, why? You know, it's like for a black person, you don't have to ask why.
But you're thinking specifically for me saying white people, but that's not the only example of our privilege as far as what we can say. We can
Like,
really
you
say
feel like you
whatever we
can
want
speak
or
as
do
freely
whatever
as black
we want.
people can about certain racial issues. Like, do you feel like how? Because I mean, if we're being honest, you're around us, you hear some of the things we say, and I feel like I could say some of the things I say in front of white people, and they wouldn't think anything of it.
Right.
But do you feel like you could say those same things, and it would be not really taking it seriously?
Not everything. But going back to the point where, like, if you were black and you said I hate white people, nobody would be like, whoa, what? But I feel like just like the minorities, if they say that they hate white people, whether it's the Hispanics or the Asians or the blacks, if they say, oh yeah, I hate white people because blah blah blah, I just feel like nobody would really be like, what?
Or why?
I feel like it's really like for that thing, it's minorities against the whites, or just the white supremacists.
So you think it's more of like like basically as a collective, we
A minority
right?
privilege.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a
That's a
fair
good way to look at it.
that's a
Yeah,
fair
because if I
assessment.
had an Asian friend that they were like, oh, I hate white people, I wouldn't be like, oh, yeah,
I
I
can
understand.
I guess like if it was in front of, because I feel like I could say that in front of white people, and it would, like, while it would be probably uncomfortable for them, I don't think it would cost me a job or anything. Like, I feel like people would just skate over it because whatever. I mean, you're probably entitled to that feeling. Do you feel like you could say it in front of white people and people wouldn't look at you and be like,
Oh, I would actually think that's kind of different.
okay.
So
I don't think you would get fired, but I think they would look at you.
Yeah, it would be surprising.
Yeah, there would be more walls between white and black than if it was white and Asian or white and Hispanic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it was, yeah, I don't know, I definitely understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, and then, I mean, while I do feel like freedom of speech is a privilege, because it is, like, I love that I can say whatever I want, and, like, it's just what I say, and I do feel bad when I'm talking to maybe a white friend, I feel like they can't be as honest with me about how they feel, because they're afraid of what that might come with, the backlash, or, like, how I might look at them. You know, that's a real thing, so I do acknowledge that, but I do understand why we have that privilege at the end of the day.
For me, I think black privilege is, so I have a friend who is black and goes to my school, and the population of blacks in my school is actually 0.8%.
Whoa.
Not even 1%. Dude,
Dang.
okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he the only one?
It's actually Cal State's like least, what's that word? Least diverse school. So my friend was like, yeah, when I first got into school, like when I first stepped onto campus, a white person told me, oh, you only got into school because you're black.
And that's another thing that really bothers me, the whole affirmative action thing. I don't think that happens as frequently as white America tries to make it seem. Like, no one has ever literally been like, okay, we're trying to fit this quota. You're not qualified, but here you go because you're black.
Yeah, because you're qualified and because you're black.
Like, and, you know, I still feel like I had to work really hard. And I know so many black men who literally, just because of the threat that they, you know what I mean, they won't even get a chance to interview. So it's just like that affirmative action thing, it really does bother me, and it's dangerous. That's dangerous.
And then it's like, why do we have affirmative action? Because y'all try to keep jobs away from us. So, I mean, hey.
It's all systematic. It's crazy. But I did want to take time to acknowledge a lot of the accomplishments that we have been able to make as a result of everything that's transpired over the last few weeks and the last month. Like, a lot of things have happened that are good and work in our favor, and I don't want to disregard those things because of all the negativity. So I did want to take a moment just to acknowledge some progress that we've made. I'll start by saying that George Floyd, the cops that murdered him and the ones that were in the presence of that incident, they have been arrested and charged with second-degree murder. So that is progress. How that will play out, we'll just have to stay tuned and find out. But I mean, it's a step, it's a statement. They're being held accountable, and so I'm happy about that. Breonna Taylor, while I'm not pleased with everything that has gone on with that case, the law was passed that you can no longer just go into someone's house without a search warrant, and that's honestly
that has
the
been
no
on
knock
the
law.
Constitution though.
I thought so, but you know, that's
Different states are
always
different, though.
yeah, but like,
Different states have
damn, that
laws.
different. How is it that in Florida you literally can kill a minor and say it's your stand your ground law, and then in another instance, someone who's completely innocent laying in their fucking bed is killed, and a no knock warrant? Like, that's insane, and no accountability, no repercussions are being taken. Like, it's just like, what? That is extreme. I realize they're in different states, but we're still in America.
Right.
But
We're
literally
like,
every
it varies
American
that
state
much.
is literally has different laws.
And,
I'm
but
just
like,
saying.
we need
And
to.
it sucks.
That
It's-
needs
it's
to change.
stupid. It's very
That needs
dumb.
to change.
Yeah.
If we're one,
It's essentially Africa. Africa got a lot of different countries with a lot of different laws. We just have different states with different laws. But then we have the federal government. Because why can you buy weed in California, but you can't fly to Atlanta with it?
specifically Atlanta?
No, just in general, Atlanta, it's not legal like
Right.
it is in LA. So technically, no.
Because isn't it technically legal to fly out with it? But like,
Mhm.
I guess depending on where you're
Where
going.
you're going.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
And
But I do think that us black people need to be more proud of like what we have created. I think a lot of times we like to be like, oh, let's go back to Africa, or like we kind of put African culture on a pedestal, when I feel like us as African Americans or black or whatever you want to be called, we have created our own culture that kind of has gone past a lot of other people's cultures, just in general. So I think that's something that we just need to be proud of, and that we need to focus on. Stop, downplaying the fact that we love rap music. We love rap music because we love rap music, and it's our music. If we love fried chicken, we love fried chicken because we love fried chicken. We need to stop letting people take our power away from us about our culture. I think we need to have more pride in that.
I agree. I 100% agree. I
Even
feel
watermelon, I love that shit.
like we get offended, and why? If I like it, I like it, and if it's because I'm black, it's because I'm black. Do I know that it's because I'm black? There's no way to prove or disprove that. But the fact of the matter is, like, we do get offended by things that we really should embrace, because literally that's why when people say do you prefer to be called African American or black, I always say black, because I feel like black is a culture we really created. Like, even if I meet a black person who's from a different state, we still are able to converse that language. They understand the context. It's like we really are. We have a culture here. We do, obviously. That's why I care so much about hip hop. That's why I'm so sensitive about it. It's like, that is a part of our culture. That's a part of our story. We created that. We were stripped of our original history, but we created something here in America. We need to be proud of that. Like, and not let anybody make us feel ashamed or less than or inferior in any type of way. When we should be proud of it, because as 13% of the population, I would say we're the most influential
Yeah.
race
out there.
Cross cultures.
I think culture is just such a thing in America I think it's just all cultures in America that gets, like, I don't know how to say it, but it's like, if you do have black culture in America, people will be like, even the black people, they will be like, oh, we probably shouldn't embrace it because we're in a predominantly white country, and then you have Asians who don't want it. For me, I don't really want to like get into my culture, because I feel like the white majority in this country is not gonna be in favor of it, and I'll be like, oh, maybe I should just stick to white culture, something like that. That's with a lot of cultures in America.
I would almost say with most cultures that are non-white. Like, I have a Jewish coworker who says the same thing, that he tries to conceal Jewish features, or like tries to kind of like look more white, and he feels complimented if someone doesn't know he's Jewish. And that hurts me, because as black people, we can't hide that. Obviously, we can't. There's no hiding what we are. Mm-hmm. We have no choice but to embrace it, and we should. Mm-hmm. And so I'll end that with that. Mm-hmm. But before we go, I did just want to name one product, or one item, one thing that we feel like more people should be aware of. And I'll let you start, Jordy. What do you?
Casual Casual Brand, acasualbrand.bigcartel.com or Casual Variety Show. Check out my show, check out my page, check me out. It's lit, it's casual, all that.
Keep it casual. I did want to tell you guys about this amazing dating app called Filter Off. I did an interview with the founder, Zach, who created this amazing app where you literally speed date mobily. And you're speed dating with FaceTime. It's super cool. I'll be dropping an interview on it soon, and we'll be getting into more detail about how it works and you know, people's testimonies. But it's really cool, and I think you guys should really check it out.
Also, Zach has a nonprofit for mental health is it mental health?
Yeah. Mental health.
It's called 18%, and they host it on the Slack community, and I just think that's really important because some people, they probably don't want to meet face to face with a person and talk about their feelings, and people are probably more comfortable texting nowadays. So I think that's really important. I just want to promote that.
Exactly. We should definitely check that out.
And check me out. Follow my Instagram, marc.mo90, MARCMO90. Also, stay tuned. I just auditioned for the show Wipeout. So if you guys know about that, definitely, they said it should be airing. We won't be doing it till like sometime around September, December-ish. And that's just because of the COVID. But yeah, they said that we should be airing sometime around then. So I'll let you guys know how that goes.
If y'all want to see Marc get knocked off of a freaking cliff into a body of water, y'all should definitely check that out.
Hey, I'm going for the win.
All right, well, good luck to you on that.
Thank you.
But any closing statements, anything you guys want to leave the people with?
Stay positive.
Please.
Stand together.
Stand
so
together.
much love.
Stand
There's
against
so much
hate.
love. Yep.
Unity wins.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. It honestly was a pleasure. I really wish we could dive deep.
This could go on for hours.
It could literally go on for hours, but you know.
A lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Lots to debate.
A lot to talk about. But thank you guys so much for joining me, and thank you guys so much for watching. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, join the conversation. We want to hear from you. What do you think about these topics? And make sure
What should we talk about next?
tell us what we should talk about next. What y'all want
What
to
do
hear?
you guys want to hear? Yeah, nice.
Well, make sure to hit that bell so that you don't miss out on future episodes. And until next time, Chanté Presley out TaeTalkTV.